the forgotten knowledge of the earth. What if everything you needed to survive was already around you? Not hidden in a backpack, not stored inside a modern survival kit, not waiting in a supermarket or hardware store, but growing quietly beneath your feet, flowing through nearby streams, standing silently as ancient trees, and carried for thousands of years in the memories of people who learned to live with nature instead of fighting against it. Imagine waking tomorrow with no electricity, no phone, no GPS, no running water, no grocery stores, no internet, no roads. Would you know where to find clean drinking water? Could you build a shelter before the temperature dropped? Would you recognize the plants that heal and avoid the ones that harm? For most of us, the answer is no. Yet for thousands of generations, entire communities survived every season without modern technology. They crossed deserts. They lived through freezing winters. They navigated dense forests. They followed rivers, stars, animal tracks, and the changing winds. They understood nature not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Every tree offered a lesson. Every bird carried a message. Every footprint told a story. Today, much of that wisdom has faded beneath the noise of modern life. But it has not disappeared. It still exists in traditions, oral histories, archaeological discoveries, and the remarkable knowledge preserved by Indigenous peoples across the world. This is not merely a story about survival. It is a journey into one of humanity's greatest libraries, a library with no walls, where every mountain, river, forest, and open plain holds a page of knowledge. Today, we begin opening that book, Introduction. Long before cities rose above the horizon, before steel bridges crossed rivers, and before satellites circled the Earth, humanity relied on something far more powerful than technology. Observation. Survival was never based on strength alone. The strongest animal does not always survive. The fastest creature does not always survive. The species that endures is often the one that learns, adapts, and understands its environment. Early humans watched everything. They studied the movement of birds. They noticed which insects appeared before rain. They learned which plants returned every spring. They remembered where animals gathered during dry seasons. Knowledge became their greatest tool. Unlike a spear or a knife, knowledge could not be stolen. It could be shared. Passed from elders to children around evening fires, repeated through songs, preserved in stories, carved into memory long before writing existed. Every generation added something new. One family discovered a safer river crossing. Another learned which bark reduced fever. Another understood how to shape stone into sharper blades. Over thousands of years, survival became a living science. Modern archaeology continues to reveal just how advanced these ancient communities truly were. They engineered fishing systems, managed forests, created controlled burns to renew ecosystems, stored food through changing seasons, predicted weather through careful observation, built shelters suited perfectly to their climates. Many practices that scientists now praise as sustainable were developed centuries or even millennia ago. Ancient survival was never about conquering nature. It was about partnership. Nature always gives clues. The challenge is learning how to see them. Imagine walking through a forest with an experienced tracker. To you, the ground appears ordinary. Leaves, mud, broken branches. But the tracker notices everything. A fresh hoof print, a feather caught on a thorn, a bent blade of grass, the faint smell of damp soil carried by the wind. From these tiny details, they understand what happened hours before. Which animal passed, which direction it traveled, whether it was calm or frightened, whether rain is approaching, whether danger may be nearby. The forest speaks constantly. Most people simply forget how to listen. That forgotten conversation lies at the heart of ancient survival. Chapter 1. Reading the language of nature. Every environment speaks its own language. The desert whispers differently from the rainforest. The mountains communicate differently from coastal shores. To survive, ancient communities first learned to observe. Observation came before action. Instead of rushing forward, they paused. They watched. They listened. At dawn, birds often reveal more than beautiful songs. Certain species become unusually quiet when predators approach. Others suddenly gather and call together. Experienced hunters paid close attention. Bird behavior often warned of danger long before it became visible. Wind also carries information. A cool breeze flowing downhill before sunrise often signals changing temperatures. Warm, rising air may indicate clear weather. A sudden shift in wind direction can announce an approaching storm hours before clouds fully develop. Clouds themselves became another language. Thin, high clouds often appeared before changing weather. Towering dark clouds warned of violent storms. The color of sunrise and sunset offered further clues. These were not superstitions. They were observations repeated across generations. Animals revealed the health of an ecosystem. Where insects flourished, birds followed. Where birds gathered, water was often nearby. Large mammals left trails leading toward dependable water sources. Ancient travelers understood that following established animal paths could save both time and energy. They also learned respect. A fresh predator track was not merely interesting. It required caution. Ancient survival demanded humility. The wilderness was never underestimated. Many cultures believed humans were guests within nature rather than rulers over it. This belief encouraged careful decision-making. Waste little. Take only what is needed. Leave enough for tomorrow. Those principles supported survival for generations. Modern conservation echoes many of these same ideas. Even trees became guides. The growth pattern of branches reflected sunlight. The texture of bark hinted at age and health. Moss sometimes indicated moisture, though experienced woodsmen knew never to rely on a single sign alone. One clue could mislead. Many clues together revealed truth. That principle remains valuable today. Whether exploring nature or making decisions in daily life, wise judgment comes from observing multiple pieces of evidence rather than rushing toward conclusions. Ancient survival therefore began not with fire, not with hunting, not with shelter, but with attention, the ability to notice what others ignored. In today's fast-moving world, this lesson feels more relevant than ever. We often search for complicated answers while overlooking simple observations. Nature still teaches patience. It still rewards curiosity. And it still offers remarkable wisdom to those willing to slow down enough to learn.